Chul, sí.
No alcanzó el presupuesto para alguien más. Gracias, Val. Gracias. Chad, es el momento de brillar. ¿Cómo están? Muy buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos al Sports Summit México 2020. Y pues yo tengo el gusto de acompañar a Chad De Luca, el director de sponsorships en Twitch, que nos va a hablar de lo que es el mercado de esports y lo que se espera en un futuro. Pero antes, Chad me pidió muy especialmente que les quiere compartir unas palabras. Chad, you want to say something to all our audience?
Sí, buenas tardes. Es un placer hablar con ustedes y viva Chivas.
Ah, no. Oh, viva Chivas, ok, viva Chivas, viva Chicharito, ¿no?
Chicharito, sí.
Ok.
Es una MLS.
MLS, okay.
Yeah.
You're making friends.
Sí.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Well, welcome to Mexico City, and let's start from the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so sorry, I'm going to speak in English the rest of the time, so I apologize to the translators who are very confused right now. So I actually began in traditional sports with the NBA, with the New York Yankees, with Endeavor, and so that was my trajectory at first, and then I went to a media agency, Publicis, and worked on both traditional sports strategy as well as when Ninja and Drake played Fortnite together. We had a lot of executives asking, my kids play Fortnite, can you help explain how I figured this gaming and esports space out? And so we had a lot of brands coming to us asking us about how they could navigate and how to best speak to this audience in a way that was native and authentic to them. So I worked with brands like Verizon and Mars, Snickers brand, Kellogg's, Kraft Heinz, and the list goes on, Discover Card. And so as that went on, I worked with Twitch a lot because they were the center of the ecosystem with gaming and esports. And I think it got to a point to where they just said, can you just come work for us because you're bringing in all this money for us. We'd rather just have you full time here. So it's been really great. And I think what's been really interesting is how collaborative the space is and how everybody's learning and everybody's trying to figure out what works. And so it's been really fascinating figuring out what works for brands, creating really creative strategies, ways to speak to people in the language that they want to be spoken to, and in ways that make sense to them as native to their experience.
So being in the traditional market with the Yankees, with an NBA, why did you choose Twitch?
Well, it chose me. So
okay, perfect. But
yeah.
Why did you decide to go to Twitch?
Yeah, I think what I felt was not only, and we heard this from the panel before, content in general is extremely fragmented right now, and I started to see more and more sports and entertainment properties coming to Twitch. We saw, Lucha Libre. We saw, the NFL on Thursday night through our Amazon Prime connection is now on Twitch. And so more and more traditional sports publishers are coming to Twitch because the audience is there, and they understand that not only is the audience there, but the way that people want to be communicated to and have an interactive two-way experience is something that this next generation is really craving and they almost expect now. And so I think I saw Twitch as not only something that was, kind of the behemoth of gaming and esports, but really just live entertainment in general. There's more and more content that's coming there. We have, Pokemon is about to do a marathon on there, and so we have that. We've had TV shows. We have, people that are trying to bring concerts to us with folks like Live Nation. So there's just more and more content there because it's disseminated in the way that people want to experience live entertainment.
How they consume entertainment, as you were telling us. But let's do a small pause, porque tenemos un video. We have a video they want to present. Así que vamos a echarle un ojo.
What is Twitch? Twitch is 15 million daily visitors, each spending an hour and a half together watching in real time. Twitch is multiplayer entertainment. It's interactive. Live.
Second and 4. Oh, he's open, baby!
Shared.
I'm your biggest fan. I'm blushing.
And unpredictable. Twitch is home to the biggest esports competitions in the world. where brands can connect with creators.
Yo, shout out to Wendy's. Go get your fries for only $1, dog.
Innovative content combined with unparalleled engagement, Twitch is changing the entertainment world.
Perfecto. So that's Twitch in a couple seconds.
Yeah, we don't even need to go on for the rest of the time here. So I think what was really interesting about that video is just how things are changing. And recently we had what was called our Twitch Rivals Streamer Bowl. And so we had two of our key partners, Verizon and TurboTax, and they were integrated within the show. And we had programming leading up to that around the Super Bowl down in Miami. And it featured top NFL players playing with some of our top Twitch streamers. And they were playing Fortnite together for charity. And what was really cool about that is just it's the intersection of pop culture. It's the intersection of traditional sports, and it's the intersection of gaming and esports. And what was really interesting was how excited some of these NFL players who are playing to millions of people, every week, how excited they were to play with some of these Twitch streamers. It was really fascinating. And I think our brands were really excited because it helped bring in two different audiences. It helped bring in that, that traditional gaming esports audience, but it also brought in people that were curious about it because they might have been fans of certain people that were playing in the tournament, and they thought it was really cool that they were actually that good to play in an esports tournament. And I think that's where we're starting to go. There's more intersection of pop culture and entertainment on Twitch.
And there's the whole families that want to be in this tournaments because you have the children that take their parents and maybe the parents that grew up playing video games. So it's incredible what you can live in one of those tournaments.
Yeah, I think so. We were talking about this earlier, and it's really interesting to see how generations have changed when you see people who grew up playing a Counter-Strike or a StarCraft or a League of Legends or any of those type of games.
Age of Empires.
Yeah.
Heroes of Might and Magic.
Exactly.
I'm kind of a nerd. Okay.
A little bit. But I think growing up playing those games, and I think they wanted to share that with their children. And obviously children are interested in different games right now, whether it's Fortnite or Minecraft. But it's really about bringing people together, and I think that's what our platform does really well, and gaming esports does so well, is it brings in a very diverse community of people, and it's very family friendly. You see, at the Fortnite World Cup or at an event like TwitchCon that we have every year, you see a lot of families there. You see a lot of families that are parents going with their kids to enjoy this together. You see them watching it on Twitch together. It's funny, we were talking about when it comes to pop culture, there's a guy who's in the office at Twitch, and he has like a 12-year-old son, and he was a big Star Wars nerd. He's been trying to get his son to watch Star Wars and be interested in it, and he couldn't care less. But as soon as Fortnite and Epic did a partnership with Star Wars and they had a full integration, all of a sudden now he wants to watch Star Wars. So it goes back to what we're talking about. You need to be able to communicate with people where they are in a language that's native to them that they can connect with. And so when brands or publishers or entertainment properties are coming and they're trying to speak to this audience, they need to do it in a way that's comfortable to people, that makes sense to them.
And that's one big advantage in Twitch. You can connect with the other one that's on your monitor, or they want to have this interaction that they can only get on Twitch. Actually, we were talking about, there's an example, a movie that just came out, Sonic. And when the first trailer came out, the people were crazy. They said, "You ruined my childhood. What's that?" Incredible backlash. So they changed the character, and now it's breaking all kind of records. So that's what you can do in Twitch.
Yeah, I think the community is really empowered to give their opinion. I think Millennial and Gen Z feel like they have a voice, and they want to know that they're being listened to, and they want to know that that a brand or a publisher or a platform is taking their input into consideration when they're making any decisions. And I think that's something that we really strive to do at Twitch, is we really try to incorporate community feedback and make sure that everything that we do is in line with the community, and we never do anything that alienates people. So it's a really good example of that, and I think that there's just a lot of examples, whether it's brands or whether it's publishers doing different things. We talked about Fortnite and something that they've done with integrating brands. You really want to make sure that it's something that enhances the experience, that creates value, instead of being kind of a roadblock and something that gets in the way of somebody enjoying something that they're looking forward to.
And a lot of people don't know about this, but the experience of being in one of those tournaments Overwatch, Fortnite, the kind of money that's pouring in, it's incredible. You can be a 16-year-old boy and then be a multimillionaire.
I think, so we were talking about this before earlier, there is a lot of money that's being poured into it, and the reason is, game publishers want more and more people to be playing their games, and so what are different ways to get people invested, not only with playing the game, but watching, consuming the content if they don't have enough time to allocate to dedicating 6 to 8 hours every day playing a certain game. So I think that's where you have this two-sided audience. You have the people that are investing, playing the prize pools of Dota 2 has a $25+ million prize pool, and you heard the Fortnite World Cup had a $100 million prize pool, and Booga won $3 million. So there's a lot of money. There's media rights that are being allocated to people like Twitch or YouTube. There's franchise fees to be able to go into some of these different leagues that people are paying $20-30 million to be able to have their team be able to play and operate in that league. So there's a lot of money being played. There's a lot of microtransactions within games that are making people a lot of money. So there's a lot of money that's involved, but it's all going back into the community. I think that's what's really important is when these game publishers are making all this money, they're reinvesting into the experience for their consumers.
Definitely, I chose the wrong career.
Same.
It's incredible what we can do right now at the esports. But can you talk about the ecosystem, the ecosystem with Twitch?
Yeah, so I think with gaming esports on Twitch, we have a lot of people that don't necessarily understand how esports works. There's a lot of games, there's a lot of teams, people don't understand how that all works. But I think an example that we were talking about before is a really good one. If you look at teams like Real Madrid or FC Barcelona, they have a football team, but they also have a basketball team, and they also have a handball team and other teams that they operate. Esports has organizations that have multiple teams that operate in different games, so different game titles that they play. It's all under kind of one umbrella organization. And the way that esports is structured is similar to soccer with FIFA or Liga MX. You have a governing body that controls all the content and controls the competition for a certain game. So Riot is the publisher for League of Legends. They control the LCS, which is the North America League of Legends division, and people have to pay rights fees to be able to have their teams compete in there. So there's teams that have League of Legends players that only play League of Legends, and they compete in there, and it's broadcasted on Twitch. So that's kind of, if you look at it that way, just kind of a funnel down of how it's organized, it makes a little more sense. I think in the US we use a university model, so somebody like a University of Michigan has a basketball team and a football team and a baseball team and a soccer team, but they all play for University of Michigan. So that's an easy way to digest how this ecosystem is broken down.
Chad, as a brand, what are the do's and do nots of advertising in gaming?
So it's what we've been talking about before. It's being additive, being credible, not trying to be somebody that you're not. I think that's where a lot of brands, tend to stumble a little bit, is when they try to be cool. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that Steve Buscemi meme where he's, hello fellow kids. It's like that thing. You can't be somebody that you're not. Play to your strengths and find ways to be additive, find ways to create value and experiences. I think a really good example that we have recently was Miller Lite did a great campaign where they highlighted the unsung heroes of Twitch. And so those are people called moderators. So in Twitch, in terms of brand safety, everybody asks about that. We have moderators, both artificial intelligence as well as human moderators, and then we have volunteer moderators who just volunteer their time to help out moderate this community. And they don't get paid. They're just doing it out of the kindness of their heart because they want this experience to be the best that it can be. And so we and Miller Lite together went behind the scenes and started to get some of the stories of some of these people about how they found Twitch, how they found these communities, why they were empowered to help out. And a lot of them had a lot of hardships, but they felt community and they felt, a sense of belonging within Twitch. It was something where they felt accepted for who they were, and they didn't have to try to hide who they were, their authentic self. So we told these stories, and then we sent them to TwitchCon, which is our annual event, and we had them meet with the streamers that they moderated for the first time. And it it was really heartwarming to see both just the embrace and the appreciation that the streamers had for their moderators, these people that just donate their time. And so it had nothing to do with drinking beer, but it had everything to do with celebrating, you know, something that's important to people. And we did research after, and one thing that was really cool was the favorability scores went up for Miller Lite. The association with gaming, more people felt like they were a brand that belongs, and I think that's really what brands want. They just want to be able to have a right to be at the table. And I think anything that you can do that's additive, that's behind the scenes, that's bringing people closer together and creating experiences for consumers and for the community, those are ways that brands are winning.
And in the middle of everything, in the center, you can find Twitch. That's making everything possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what's really cool and a reason that a lot of brands come to us is that we are the center of that ecosystem. We are the media that kind of runs, but we also have relationships with publishers and teams and streamers, and so people come to us because they want a one-stop shop. And I think for brands, in terms of efficiencies with their investment, as well as, you know, getting more value out of what they're investing, they come to us, and we're that one-stop shop to where everything in the ecosystem they can get directly with us.
But we're seeing more and more, not only gaming experience, but traditional sports looking for Twitch.
Yeah, I have lots of traditional sports leagues that have reached out on LinkedIn, which is pretty interesting. You know, I think a lot of basketball content is coming to Twitch. We have the NBA G League. We have some WNBA content. We have the NBL. But there's some other basketball leagues globally. We have USA Basketball's friendlies and some of the summer league and preseason games that are on Twitch. You know, and we, like I said before, we have Thursday Night Football at the NFL. But I think, again, we mentioned it earlier, more and more entertainment properties are realizing that this is the audience that their advertisers are looking for. And it's a way, like we said before, it's that two-way conversation. It's people being a part of a community, being able to react live with their friends and with their fellow community members to things that are happening. And it's the acknowledgement that who's ever running that community, or if it's a streamer that's co-streaming a match, they can then respond to people who are responding to them. And it's that acknowledgement and that empowerment to communicate and have that two-way experience that just, it separates it from everything else.
So just to be clear, that's the key, that two-way communication that exists with Twitch. You can be acknowledged at any time with your favorite streamer, and that makes a difference.
Yeah, I think we talked about this earlier with the example of, you know, imagine if, you know, you were...
Be very careful.
Yeah.
Be very careful. Who are you going to...
Well, Chicharito.
Okay,
We were saying Chicharito. So
okay.
Imagine you're watching a match and, you know, he scores a goal and you can tell him how great his goal was, and he can acknowledge you back saying, thanks so much for supporting me. I know you've been a fan for X amount of years. In real life, that doesn't exist, but on Twitch, when we work with our streamers, that does exist. There are subscriptions that people have to certain channels. Twitch is a free platform, but people can help support their favorite creators and streamers. And as part of that, they get recognition, social currency that allows them to elevate their status. And so if there's something goes on, you want to respond to it, there's something that will come across the screen that says, Chad's been subscribed to, you know, Tim the Tatman for 5 years, and then everybody claps for you, and the streamer acknowledges you and acknowledges and appreciates the fact that you've been loyal and committed. So I think it's where we're starting to go, where, you know, people really want that acknowledgement, and they want that recognition for supporting, whether it's content or a brand, they want that recognition.
So in other words, it's plain and simple. Everybody wants to communicate in Twitch. By Twitch.
That's right.
Because you have that experience, right?
Yeah, I think it's creating, I mean, we're trying to create more things. We're trying to create more entertainment that allows people to have that two-way dialogue. So, you know, there's marathons of different shows, there's sports, there's, you know, painting, there's live cooking. Like, there's just everything that is a live type of experience that people want to experience together, and allows for that community experience.
So how do you see Twitch in 5-10 years?
I think there's just going to be more content. It's just more and more content, and it's constantly evolving the level of interactivity that you can have. So there's different extensions and overlays that we have to allow people to be able to vote. So imagine, you know, you could predict the outcome for something, and there's some sort of reward if you get something correct, or there's a sweepstakes that you can do by just clicking on the screen rather than having to go to a third-party page. We have that right now, but I think there's just more and more interactivity that's going to be on the screen, that's going to be evolved, and I think more and more content publishers and entertainment properties are going to be coming to us because of that, and they are, and they will continue to.
So I think everybody wants to replicate what Twitch has done. There are other platforms, for example, Mixer. But what's the biggest difference between Twitch and all the other platforms?
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Competition breeds innovation, and I think for us this past year, it's been really fascinating to see some of these different platforms paying a lot of money to get some of our top creators, and I think we take pride in the fact that we are helping produce some of the top entertainers in this space, and the fact that they're then able to go and get paid a lot of money to go to other platforms. However, one thing that we've seen when some of these people have left our platform is a lot of times not all their community follows them, and I think it's really a testament to what Twitch has created in terms of that community. I've probably said community 50 times already, but it's true that people come to Twitch for the community experience. They stay on there, they go there to interact with their other community members, with their friends, with those streamers, and that element, that emotional attachment and involvement isn't something that can be easily replicated. And so I think when creators are going to other platforms, they're getting paid a lot to do that, but they aren't seeing the same success as they had on Twitch. And I think that's something that a lot of people have started to take notice of. We're certainly finding more ways to make our creators feel special. When we were down in Miami for Super Bowl, our streamers who were participating in the Twitch Rivals Stream Bowl, we then had them go to a bunch of different parties, and we had them go to a suite at the Super Bowl and just treating them like they're VIPs, flying them out private and that type of stuff. So I think, really making them feel like they're celebrities. And so I think that's something that, makes us special, that we're really rewarding that community, and we're rewarding our creators for, being the lifeblood of our organization. Without them, we don't exist.
Well, it's obvious. Just between you and me, if you're hiring, I'm set.
We'd be happy to.
Thank you very much. Chad, is there something else you want to add?
No.
No. Okay, so everything is explained. Well, thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much for having me.
So we can take home Twitch, Chivas, and Chicharito.
Exactly.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias a todos. Chad de Luca, el hombre que está haciendo magia con Twitch hoy en día. Gracias. Pleasure.